Hi guys, I am the Nerdy Movie Guy, and I want to talk about the movie Room. That's the name, just Room. It was an A24 movie that came out in 2015, and it stars Brie Larson. This movie is very different than probably the rest of the movies I've seen. This movie is not reliant on character building in a sense, because there's just such a handful of characters. They don't rely on 10 or 20 different characters to build the plot toward a climactic ending. This is reliant on the acting and the emotional responses triggered by these actors and characters. The movie is about this mother and her son in captivity. And in the movie trailer, it shows that they are free. I'm not going to spoil how, but this movie has practically two halves. It's about this mother and her son in captivity, and then it's about what happens when they're free. Now, typically, movies where they have someone captive, they'll be free toward the end. That's the ending to their story, is getting out. But that's not the case in this movie. This movie is heavily reliant on the emotional responses of what happens when they're free. There's so many different parts to this side of the story that isn't explored in most movies. The child has never seen anything outside of the room. He's been in that room all his life. And so when they go to the doctor, there's just so many conversations and results and recommendations that just kind of hit you as a viewer, realizing just how tricky something like that would be for real. It's not easy. It's not exciting when they're free because there's just so much that's going to happen, and you get this sense of dread that you start to wonder if they're going to recover. And Brie Larson's character kind of relies on everything is for her son. But when they're both free, the mother and the son have so many different, they both have different reactions to it. You kind of find out that the son is kind of scared of everything. If someone's been in a room like that their whole life, they've never seen grass or other people or anything outside of just a very small confined space. So he kind of gets a sense of fear. He's afraid of everything. He wants regularity. He wants stability, and he doesn't have that anymore because everything is so new and different. And for the mother, she doesn't really know what to do. She knows that she needs to get help for her son, but she doesn't realize how hard life would be when she's out. Now, obviously, she has a better life now, but the repercussions of being in such a confined space for so long, there's just so many sides to it that is just new and different. She has a reaction to her parents that isn't what you would expect. She has a reaction to her son, their bond, their dynamic. It's just different. And this is the kind of movie that I can really enjoy differently because it's reliant on the acting, and I think it really worked for this movie. It triggers the kinds of responses that is just emotional. You get this sense that what happens throughout the movie when they are free, it's all they've wanted. And the way this movie is shot and the way it happens is it's exciting when they're out. But then you just get this sense of dread, and everything feels different and complicated. You know there's a long road ahead. And that kind of a plot is something that's just very intriguing. It's not your standard action movie, but it's engaging. And I think this movie did it very well. There is some great acting in this movie. There is some pretty neat plot twists toward the second half of the movie. And it's just a very suspenseful type of film. You're on the edge of your seat most of the time wondering what's going to happen next. How are these characters going to react? And this kind of a movie is a breath of fresh air from your standard action blockbusters. So this movie was great. If you like these kinds of movies, if you want something that's different and kind of a small scale compared to other movies, I would definitely recommend checking this one out. It's a great watch, and just overall, the biggest takeaway is realizing everyone is going through something. In the movie, when they are free, different people around the mother and the son can't grasp, they can't understand what they're going through. They try, but they can't. And that's true for so many people and for so many aspects of their lives, where we look at someone and we know what their life is, we know their job, we know their circle of friends, but no one can really understand what they're going through mentally and emotionally. And this movie explains this aspect and brings awareness to these feelings so very well. And that was the biggest takeaway from this movie, and that's why it was a great watch. If you haven't seen it, check it out, guys. Thanks for watching.